This is actually going to be the first time I try this out. I think it'll work. This is just the prototype. Got a piece of 1/4 inch plywood here. Well, maybe it's not quite a 1/4 inch. It's a metric 1/4 inch, so that means it'll be less than a 1/4 of an inch. I've got a screw coming through here, and hopefully I can find the hole that I drilled in the table there. Yeah, there it is. Okay, now, like I say, this is the first time, so it's going to look a little bit awkward, because I just realized I'm not ready. Okay, now, very carefully here. Now, the idea is that if I put the object that I want to rotate on over top of the screw, the camera, if it is pointed in a straight line like this, should always turn. Now, obviously I gotta yeah, that should work. Okay, now where's our screw? I know that the screw is approximately right here. Just for the fun of it, let's just sort of put it in the middle of the ship. That's about it. And it's pretty easy to eyeball it this way. It's sort of like, you know, putting on the golf course, I guess. You sort of see it in a straight line if you get over top of it. Now, like I said, now I guess in order for you to be able to see the lines stand out, we've got to get our white background here. Something like this. Yeah, that makes them stand out. Now, the idea is that when I rotate the camera, it should always stay pointed at approximately, oh, about the front of the funnel, I guess. So let's just try it out. And the whole idea being, I'll just move it up just a little bit here. I'm looking at my monitor right there, so. All right. Now, when I slowly start to move the camera, everything in your mind, it should sort of start coming into perspective, because you'll see one line starting to pass in front of another, and then you'll realize, oh, okay, that one is further away, and it's moving my white background, but that's okay. You can see what's happening here. I think this is going to work. I'll just cut this down a little bit. It doesn't have to be so big. I just wanted to try it out. And of course, you don't want to be going too fast, because if you go too fast, it's going to get kind of blurry and jerky. I might have to put some sort of an extension on the end of this. Okay, I do believe this is going to work. Yeah, remember this from the Big Clock series? It was part of a jig. About 2 years ago, I was using this for, I think, cutting the teeth to the exact size or something like that. I can't remember. It had something to do with the table saw, anyway. Okay. Okay, I've made some adjustments here to our board. In other words, I just cut it in half. I've got the screw out at the end of it instead of partway in. I was talking about having an extension on it, and I thought, well, that's silly. The board's already about the right length. So let's try it out for real here. We'll take a look at our little a repair job that we did in the last episode. And the idea is that I should be able to slowly rotate this now, and we'll get a nice sort of 3D perspective. So here we go. And of course the idea is to keep it moving slow and steady if you can. Now this is actually the first time I'm doing this for real. Now it'll only go so far because then it'll come up, against the base of the ship here. But anyway, we'll take a look at that later. And yeah, I think it's going to be okay. Now I had wanted to work on the cranes today, and I probably will yet, if I quit fooling around making jigs for jigs. And that's what I've done here. I've made another jig for this jig here. And the idea is that when I have this little tiny nut over top of whatever it is I want to rotate around, it will always stay centered as I turn this. Notice it doesn't move. Now there's something I should mention here which I failed to make clear, and that is that these two jigs are kept in line by aligning pins. In other words, when I separate them apart and put them back together, these pins go through and they're both back together the same way as they were before. So that just helps me to more precisely center on something, because although I can probably get it to within half an inch, like let's say for instance we want to take a look at this little gun here, this anti-aircraft gun. All right, I'm just going to set up and show you here. Now, speaking of cranes, the last day of last year was the last time we worked on the cranes. So it's like, what, 5.5 months? Okay, I'll just set up here. Okay, we'll try and stop it from rocking here. You can see it's more or less over top of the gun. And as I rotate the camera, it's always going to be pointed at the gun. Now this system should work well with any of my lenses except the Super Macro. The Super Macro is just too fussy when it comes to focusing, and this jig is just not precise enough for that. Okay, enough about jigs. Let's get onto the crane. Now I realize it looks like there's a lot of stuff here, and there is actually, but most of them they just sort of set in place, like the catapults. They just lay in place. I guess we will have to maybe glue them down a little bit somehow. The guns, of course, you'll recall, they just plug in. Yeah, we got Tony's airplane here, and we got the other ones that are, well, they're kind of finished. There is decals there. I don't know if I'm going to try and put those on or not. I probably will. I'll probably try and slither them on somehow. Yeah, anyway, here's our cranes. Okay, now if you will recall, we finished this one and we didn't have enough easy line to do this other one. So I said we'll wait until we get the easy line, and well, it's here now. And 5.5 months later, we're going to continue on. Now, we had spent several episodes building this one, and I'm just going to be basically doing this one the same way. So there's no use videoing it again. I'm just going to try and go ahead and do it and get it done. And Maybe we'll take a look at it probably tomorrow now. Yeah, this video is going to be a little bit shorter, I guess. So thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.